Hi everyone, welcome back to JPWHUTV. My name is John, your host as always. Slightly impromptu podcast, but at the same point, it's been planned for a good couple of weeks now. Very happy to announce that we have one of the guys that influenced me to start up this channel, Dan Lawless, the lean, mean hammer machine. Dan, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. Yeah, a little bit more lean than I was probably a few months ago, but yeah, not so lean before. But yeah, no, great to finally come on and chat to you.
Yeah, likewise, mate. It's great to have you on. The reason why I said about you being the lean, mean hammers machine, so we'll obviously go on. Hopefully, as I said before we went live, we've got a lot to talk about. So hopefully, we'll be able to cover the reason why I referred to you as that. But first and foremost, mate, for those who, even though with West Ham Fan TV, there's been a lot of stuff going up recently about From the Vault, which is I've really enjoyed watching over again. Explain to the audience how West Ham found you.
Well, it was not too long after West Ham Fan TV started. It was sort of the first full season, beginning of the first full season. Me and my mate Jace, who I do my other channel with, just was like, let's start a channel. Like we always talk about West Ham, let's start our YouTube channel. Hadn't seen anything else going on, and so let's look and see if anything else is up. And we saw this other channel called Iron's Views, and there was West Ham Fan TV, and we saw West Ham Fan TV and was like, oh, this is great. Like, there's no point. What's the point in starting anything? This is too good. Little did we know that loads of other channels would come since after that and do really well. If we'd known that, we might have given it a go, but we just thought, oh, that's too good. There's no point in us trying to compete with that. And I watched it and enjoyed it, and I decided there was a lot I wanted to improve visually, like from a technical standpoint. But I was like, let me get Christmas out of the way. So I waited like 6-7 months, then contacted through the Facebook. I said, look, season ticket holder, forgot my own camera, teach film. You know, I'd love to come and help you guys and improve the look and the technical ability of the show. And Nikki like replied straight away, like, yeah, brilliant. We're definitely interested. Meet us. And then, we met up, and Nikki was about to go on holiday to America for 2 weeks, and he's the only one who does any editing or filming. He was the only one who has any sort of technical knowledge, so the channel wouldn't have been able to carry on while he was away. So the timing was just perfect. But yeah, that's how, in the summary, how I got involved.
So that would have been what, 4 years ago?
Yeah, farewell bowling season. What's that? 15, 16? So yeah.
So 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So obviously, because you and Nikki and Ryan and Scott and every now and again Graham, you've obviously done a shed load of content, ridiculous amount of subscribers. I mean, it's mind numbing that you guys are on close to 45,000 now. Was it a third of the amount of subscribers that West Ham's actual channel has as well on Facebook? I'm sorry, on YouTube. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's testament to how much quality you guys have put into that and how much the quality content is. And as I said, Hammers Chat, yourselves, and also the Three Hammers gave me the inspiration to do this as well. So without channels like that, like you said, when you guys started up the Dan Damo Chase channel, it was kind of like, well, it's a little bit daunting because there are other stuff out there, but some channels fold and some channels get bigger and bigger, and you guys have just absolutely hit the stratosphere pretty much in relation to that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, even Ball Street, I don't think has that many subscribers last time I looked at their account. So it's absolutely fantastic.
No, I appreciate that, mate. But we're a lot harder on ourselves than other people see it. So when we see ourselves, we feel like we should be doing better.
Of course, yeah, because it's like the old saying that George Lucas said when he was doing the special editions of the original Star Wars movie. He said projects are never completed; they're only abandoned. So you want to improve it the entire time. It's why it's like what I've done over the last couple of months. I've improved the quality of the videos. I'm expanding out. You'll never be happy with what you do, and that's a testament, as I say, to everything that you guys have been doing, because at the end of the day, your quality has just been improving over the last few years. I mean, as I said earlier, the stuff from the Vault, there's not that much has changed really. I mean, obviously the camera quality has got better, the audio quality has got better, but you're still mates sitting around having a pub chat, and that's what brings everybody into into your channel. Before we go any further, because I always forget to do this, this video is sponsored by 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, where you can purchase Umbro and Admiral track jackets, polo shirts, t-shirts and sweatshirts, and also retro shirts from the 60s all the way through to the early 2000s, including the 76 home kit and the 1980 FA Cup final kit as well, that is inspired this coming season shirts. Any purchase that you make through the link, the first 20 purchases will be going directly to the Bradley Lauer Foundation to help Isla's fight. So guys, start shopping, because there's not many purchases being made through there. So I want to donate more than the £4 so far. So yeah, just guys, get shopping. But anyway, going back to what I wanted to talk to you about, Dan, because obviously one of the things was I wanted to know, because nobody really knows it that much, is how you got involved in the channel. So that's fantastic. How you literally reached out to them, and Nicky bit your hand off by the sounds of it, especially for the growth of everything. But over the last 4 years, for you having your Twitter account, doing the West Ham Fan TV stuff, what have you been your observations of the fan base over that period of time?
Yes, it's crazy, you know, being on. I mean, I had a Twitter account for a while, but wasn't so active until I, you know, joined West Ham Fan TV and got a bit more involved. And it's been interesting seeing the fan base, and a lot of the time it's divided, reactionary, and which we're all guilty of. But there's times when it's just like, I mean, you are, as soon as you have a feeling, you think, tweet it like, this is crap, this is ridiculous. And so the nature of social media is reactionary. But I think it's great that we have a platform where West Ham fans can just interact and share their ideas. You know, I love it. You know, people that don't agree with me, if I put something out there and they say, nah, I don't believe that, and we can go back and forth. And yeah, I think it's a good platform. Sometimes it can come up in the wrong way and be negative, and I never agree with atting players after a performance. So there's always the positives and benefits. But overall, I do enjoy interacting with the fan base on there.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Talking of interaction, Jason has asked a question, and I didn't realise you actually did this. Apparently, according to Jason in the live chat, you've actually subverted the first question. Said JP didn't ask him how West Ham found you, not how West Ham Fan TV found you. So to reiterate on that question, how did West Ham the club find you? I mean, how did you get into West Ham?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was on American Hammers TV and sort of talked about this, and I don't talk about this too often. That was the first time I actually spoke about it. It came up, but initially, from when I was 6 years old, I actually supported Newcastle in a really weird, flipping way. Like, I was sitting there when is it final score, where it's like, you know, Ipswich Town 1, Brentford 0. And you're sitting there as a kid, and the name Newcastle came up, and I was like, that's a really cool name. And like all my friends at school supported Arsenal, family supported West Ham, and I never really was interested in football, but I just thought the name was cool. So for the next couple of years, supported West Ham. Everyone around me, West Ham, Newcastle, everyone around me was West Ham, and I was just like, yeah, the name's cool. Loved Alan Shearer. As I got a bit older, and I actually got into football and understood geography, and actually proper got into football. My uncle took me to a game, and I was like, yeah, it just makes sense. Like, I'm from the area, I'm born around the corner, grew up there. All my family's West Ham, and Newcastle's actually a place hundreds and hundreds of miles away. And I'm actually know about football now. I didn't have a clue about football. So yeah, that's it. Like, which is funny, because lots of West Ham fans that you hear that supported another team before, it's usually like Liverpool or Arsenal when they're a kid, because they followed the crowd. Then when they get into football, it's West Ham. But it was flipping Newcastle of all places. Just before they really got good, as they really started getting them regular Champions League spots, then I left and went to West Ham, and then West Ham a few seasons later just got relegated. So I picked the right time to transition.
Well, Dan, I'm actually quite glad you mentioned that, because Newcastle is they're not a second or third team, but the backgrounds of the supporters are very, very similar to us in Newcastle, exactly the same. I mean, obviously they are a one team town. But I've always kept an eye out for Newcastle, because I've met some Geordie fans over the years, and they absolutely are just the same as us. They have the same sense of humour. They have the same outlook on life. What are your thoughts about what's been going on at St James's Park over the last 2 to 3 weeks? I mean, more specifically, the shit show that is Mike Ashley's tenure.
It's like a car crash, isn't it? It's like, you know, when like you're just like that, you're looking and you're like, oh, I can't take my eyes off it. It's mad. Rafa Benitez. It's interesting actually say that because obviously with that I had a little bit of soft spot, on Newcastle, but I've had online quite a lot of arguments with Newcastle fans. A lot of Newcastle fans coming after me when we were linked with Benitez. I was talking about him, leaving Newcastle to come to us, and they were like, "No, he would never do that. We're a much bigger club than you," which. That's another debate entirely, the situation on that. But it's the situation at that club. I could never see him staying there because of Mike Ashley. And now it's come out like, it's not a workable condition. For a quality manager, why would he want to work under Benitez? Ashley. He's left. Now they're really screwed. I see him getting relegated. Like, they've just sold Perez. They're not getting Rondon. I can't see him getting a quality manager in. They was all having this dream about a new owner coming in, which doesn't look like it's materialising. I think they could seriously get relegated.
It is a big worry. I agreed 100%. I mean, it is we do seem to go into automatic, saying, right, Newcastle are in the shitstorm, they're going to get relegated. I mean, bearing in mind, mate, we've been through very, very similar times. Very, very similar times. Not just under the two Davids, but all the stuff that was going on
Terence
before.
Brown and
exactly, yeah. I mean, for people that are watching this, will probably know more about what's happened over the last decade than 20, 30 years ago. But I do feel sorry for the Geordies on this, because it's just really painful to watch another club start off in the same way that we did when Zola was sacked and Avram Grant came in. I remember very, very clearly being in the supporters club. This was within that season, and it was the January of that season, if I remember correctly, where David Gold went into the supporters club. Yeah. And the good friend of mine literally cornered him and just went at him for 20 minutes about how his dad, who's like 70 now, saying how can they justify the OAP price tag when they're letting in kids for £1 and all this sort of stuff. And David Gold was very polite, listened to the whole conversation, as he does with everybody, regardless of what attitude they give him. And he just basically turned around to Steve and he just went, don't worry, I understand where you're coming from. Things are going to get better. You will be rewarded. And we got relegated. Yeah. So and it's kind of the same thing with Newcastle, how that's been wrong, because obviously all that Mike Ashley cares about is his money in his back pocket. Where are they going to spend that 30 million on Paris? I just can't see it at all. I really, really can't see it.
I generally think they've got it worse than we ever had it under the current owners. Anyway, like I think Terence Brown was, is an absolute crook. But I think they've got it definitely. He has no interest in the club. He doesn't want to own it anymore, but he's just not getting the fee that he wants. So they're in this weird limbo space. That's quite horrible, because you have nothing to look forward to as a fan. You don't feel like you're going to get progression, and you can never. It's just you're up and down, up and down. So yeah, it sucks to be them, but hopefully our fortunes are looking up.
Yeah, exactly, and that's one of the good things, because I know Newcastle will be able to get back to, like you said, 15, 20 years ago, getting back to the Champions League places. I mean, that's the thing, is that they have everything in place there to do it. Just the wrong owner who values the club way too high, then it's obviously possible, because we've had in the last two and a half years, there's been 2 investors that have just disappeared off the face of the planet once I've actually talked to him. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so let's get back to West Ham, because that, as you said, mate, that's a conversation for a completely different time.
Yeah.
So with the season just gone, what are your thoughts on how we played, where we finished, etc., etc.?
Overall, I'm happy with it. Like, there was times it was a really frustrating season because it was so inconsistent. However, based on what my expectations and what my objectives were at the start of the season, I'm happy with it. If I look before the season started, I said, look, progression, not be involved in a relegation scrap, top 10 would be great. And we got the top 10. We weren't even mentioned in the relegation scrap. It was like only the first 4 games people were bringing it up, but we was never in that relegation danger, which I wanted. And we got a new manager implementing a new style of play. And yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy that we got something to build on. We can get that stability that we haven't had for so long. Having changing managers, changing stadiums, changing so many players. Now we can go into a new season, build, and get some stability. So yeah, I'm happy.
So obviously, as you mentioned there, we finished 10th just.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for the coming season? Because let's face it, it's only a few weeks away now.
Yeah. Now, I hope we can improve on this season, actually get some consistency and the mentality of the team improves. That was one thing that really, really wound me up. The amount of opportunities we had to go 7th. Every single time we had a chance to go 7th, we completely bottled it. And I want to see us have a little bit more mental strength. So when the new season comes, if we have an opportunity like that, we take it with both hands. And I think if we can get some more young, hungry players in, then, you know, like for nows and things like this, and less, you know, washed up journeyman, I think we can do that.
There's no reason why not. But at the same point, for me, I mean, I agree with you, Dan. Without a doubt, I want us to finish. You know, it'd be nice to finish 9th. It'd be nice to have a decent, decent cup run, either in the league or the FA Cup. But also at the same point, one thing I want to see is Josh Cullen and Connor Coventry get a bit more of a shout out to play, to see how they can really focus it, because I didn't really get that much of an option at that point. Bearing in mind the injuries that we had, I mean, obviously, you know, Cullen was off on loan and Coventry was still playing for the under-21s, but there's just something about this season that I feel it's going to be a little bit more tumultuous in terms of players, but at the same point, I really, really want to see kids coming through.
Yeah, well, I think Pellegrini's proven that he's willing to do that, and he is more than willing to give youngsters a chance. You know, we've seen Declan Rice fully established as a first-team player. We've seen Dean Garner coming through and getting a chance and getting lots of play time. You know, so we've seen him play youth last season. So I think when they're ready, I think he's fully willing to give youngsters a chance at the right time. It's hard with so many players that we've got in certain areas really packed out. It's really hard to give them a chance and at certain times. But I think, you know, the cups and second halves, you see him coming on and bringing on young players. So yeah, I'm fully confident. It would be great to see Josh Cullen come through and really kick on. You know, we've had so many players where we've had such high hopes for, like the Freddie Sears and the Elliot Lees, that never really panned out, and I really hope Cullen don't turn out to be one of them and he becomes the next Mark Noble.
I know. I really, really wanted Elliot Lee to come through and have really established himself. I loved it. Again, he only played a handful of games, but he really looked good. Actually, where is he now? I think he's just fallen off the radar.
I think he's in like League One or something like that, or League One or League Two. He's in a club down there. Last time I heard, but we've had a lot of players like that we've had high hopes for in the youth, and they never quite made up. You know, with Reece Burke and things like that. But yeah, apparently he's willing to give Reece Oxford and some youngsters a chance in that defensive midfield. The players that can play in that defensive midfield, I was reading that he's looking to give some youngsters a chance rather than maybe sign a defensive midfielder, which I feel a certain way about. I'm not sure if it's great to give youngsters a chance, but if they don't pan out to be very good, it leaves us short in that area where we really could do with a player. So yeah, I mean, I trust him. We'll have to see how it goes.
I know, mate. I'm just as torn about it as you are, to be honest, because I want to see Reece Oxford prove himself, and this is the because he's not done it over the last 2 to 3 years. He didn't do it when he was out on loan at Reading. He didn't really do it when he was out in whatever club it was in Germany. This is the time to really justify himself, not just the wages he's on and everything.
I think the agent that he's got doesn't do him any favours. It's the same bloke who was the agent for Sterling when he left Liverpool, which obviously he didn't leave in the best way. The same agent for Quina when Quina left, and he was putting all that crap in about Barcelona, leaking all this to the papers, going Barcelona want him and all this stuff. And you know, he's doesn't come across like a very ethical guy. And I think he sort of, after he had that bit of hype around him, Oxford, he sort of got in his head and it's taken him off track a bit, and I hope he can come off track. But if he could switch managers, I think agents, it would do him a world of good.
Exactly, and that leads us right on to the elephant in the room, mate. Right, where to start with this? First of all, before we go into it, I just need to make a bit of an addendum because the video I did yesterday, I've said it was 23 million euro bid. I got my information mixed up. It was 23 million pound bid for Marko Arnautovic from Shanghai. Is it SIPG or something?
Yeah, something like that. To be fair to you, mate, none of these different news sites can agree on the fees. Like, it's always different from site to site and what the actual fee is. So as long as you're in the ballpark, it's not too big an issue.
Yeah, I know, but as we were talking before we went live, mate, the perfectionist in me is like, Christ, I got that wrong. Literally, after the video went up, there's more information came out, which we'll go into in a bit of a moment as well. But obviously, right. So yeah, Marko, what are your thoughts on this whole debacle? And apparently, I mean, before you give your answer on this, mate, there's for those that probably haven't seen it that much. Apparently, he's meant to be having his medical in London, so I'm not really sure how that works. But the reports seem to, the only part of the report that seemed to be true yesterday before X confirmed everything was the fact that he's going to be signing on a 3-year deal, but there's nothing's 100% confirmed yet. So Dan, what are your thoughts about what's been going on the last 48 hours?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's disappointing after we've given the geezer a new contract and a pay rise, and I was hoping, I mean, he's a quality player. He's undoubtedly probably, if not our best player, one of our best players, and a player like that you don't want to lose, because scoring goals and being able to link up and stuff like that, and it's not easy to find a player like that. However, just if you're gonna have this player that's constantly going to be kicking up a fuss and constantly he's up one eye out the door and his agents in his ear all the time, it's more headache than it's actually worth. So my mindset was, I mean, me and Dave Walker was talking, you had on your show before, but we were sort of in agreement of, if we don't get the fee that we want, like 30 million plus, then we don't sell him and we keep hold of him and we make him sell and show some strength, because it does set a bad precedent if you keep letting players, whenever they want to leave and they kick up a little fuss and throw a tantrum, you go, all right, let's just sell him for the first bid that comes in, because they're causing a headache, causing a panic in the locker and the dressing room. We've got young players that could be getting some good interest, like Rice and Diop. We don't want to set that example. However, I've since mellowed on it, because if it's a case of, look, sell him quick, because like I said, this is coming in quick, and it seems like the club do want to get rid of him quick. If it allows us to then go and sign, say, Gomez, which seems to be a player that Pellegrini really wants, I'm happy to relent in this case, but it's not something that I want to just make a habit of anytime a player wants to go, then, you know, we make the quick sell. I want to see us be tough and stick to our guns, even if the player does want to leave, because we can't let that happen. Too much player power is a very, very dangerous thing.
Exactly, mate. And this is relatively the same sort of thing that I said when Neil and I talked about it on Tuesday night. Basically, my thoughts were, if we don't get the fee that we want, let the git rot in the under 23s. And my attitude is exactly the same still. I mean, I agree. I've calmed down a lot since the story came out. But it was my opinion about Payet as well. That was my opinion about Reece Oxford as well. Which is at the end of the day, if we can't get what we want for him, then they stay away for the start 11.
Yeah.
End of. It's just ignore the fact that he's ever been around. I mean, at the end of the day, this is. This is a kick in the teeth for Jack Sullivan. For David Sullivan. It's an absolute kick in the teeth for him, because obviously, as we know, what he was the one that orchestrated the contract extension in January, and hopefully David Sullivan, this is going to be the second year where he starts learning to keep out of things. I really, really, really hope that's going to be the case. One thing I was really worried about, reading earlier today, is I had a look on one of the news forums, and it said Sullivan says that we must go on and keep improving. And I thought, oh Christ, he's at it again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was his boy talking about the ladies team. So my heart sort of calmed down quite quick after that. I thought, you don't. The last thing you want as a West Ham fan is to see Sullivan mentioned in anything in the tabloids. When is going on.
We must keep improving. We've got to get rid of that Snodgrass fella. and this Anderson thing, like you could just imagine. But to give him some sort of credit, he has done well to keep his mouth shut in this past year. You know, I think he's learning massively from his mistakes, which is something. But yeah, with the Arnautovic, it's looking in hindsight, you think we should have just sold him in January and was getting those big bids for him, and you know, we wouldn't have got relegated. But yeah, it is what it is now. And the only reason I have mellowed on the let him rot in the under-23s or keep him in the side is because I don't want that stance to cost us signing a player that Pellegrini really wants. It's the only reason that if caving in at this point gets us the player that the manager really wants, I'm willing to make that compromise. But otherwise, you know, I'd be happy to just stick to our guns on this.
So, right. So are you more for bringing back manager power over player power?
Yeah, I think absolutely the manager out of everyone needs to have the most power. We've seen like times when the board have, you know, undermined the managers like Slaven Bilic and things like that, and sign players that, oh no, you can't have this player, we'll get you this player instead, and things like that, and just really undermine a manager. I think letting Pellegrini and Husillas have just the power to go what they want, just give them the money. If they let them ask for the money, say here's the budget, and go from that. And then when it comes to players, let the manager decide on that and go, do you know what? I want some more budget. We're going to let him stay. I don't want this, or I don't want this creeping into the dressing room. I don't want them to think that they can get away with acting like this. I'm going to make an example. Fully give you know, if you sign the manager, you pay him all that money, let him run the team how he wants to run the team.
Agreed, mate. Definitely. Now, obviously, because there's stories coming out that X hasn't confirmed this, so I'm just literally defining it as stories that Obiang might be of interest to Sampdoria, if I remember correct. Was it 10 million? Now, I'm a little bit in two minds about this because I want to know your thoughts on that. Sorry, before I say it, right, let me know what you think about Obiang.
I think he's a player that we just got to get off the books, just not consistent enough. He's just really not consistent enough. He's shown like glimpses of brilliance and shown that in certain games he could be good. And times he just goes completely missing. And someone said he's been a terrible signing for us, but I just think for what we paid, I think we paid like 6 million. I think it's just been a bang average, forgettable signing when you look at it. Like, it's not really set the world on fire, but it's not been a terrible player. He's just been inconsistent. So any money, if we can get some money, get him off the books and replace him, get some money back into transfer, I think we just need to do it. I was hearing that his wage demands might be a problem with him moving. So I hope that's not the issue and we can just move him on. And he can, I mean, he'd be brilliant at a league like that. You know, I think he'd do well. I just think maybe the Premier League isn't quite a good fit for him.
Agreed, 100%, mate. I mean, he had some brilliant flashes, as you hinted on then at the last season at the Bowling. Very, very great. Obviously, everybody's reaction to when you say Obiang is, oh yeah, the equaliser at Spurs at the Wembley. You know, and people are probably going to be using that alone to keep hold of him. But yes, agreed. I would sell him on top of the Arnautovic sales and bring in 2 strikers. Now, obviously, of course, the video that you've put up, quarter of an hour, so you've obviously gone into quite big depth with it, talking about Maxi Gomez. Now, from what I understand of it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan, that he's still on the verge of signing for, in negotiations, I should say, with Valencia, with Santi Mina going the other way. And there's also talk about another player coming in from Valencia on loan as well, which is obviously the reason why they accepted that 25 million euro deal. But obviously, there was reports after the whole Arnautovic thing that, the X has confirmed that Lawless is in Spain at the moment, talking to Celta Vigo to try and sway everything. But for me personally, these are the reasons why I don't think this is going to happen. One, he wants to stay in Spain. 2, Sky Sports are lying out of their teeth saying he's keen on going to West Ham. I mean, which is it? Either he wants to stay in Spain or he wants to play for West Ham.
They also said he's holding out for Spurs, apparently. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is what annoys me. So much contradiction about this story's come out, and that's what gave me the ump. But yeah, sorry.
But no, it's fine. So yeah, see, this is why I, even when the Arnautovic thing broke in January, I watched the video back a couple of days ago just to make sure I don't contradict myself. But I said then that Sky Sports would be so much more reliable if social media wasn't around, because they retract their own statements sometimes. So they're clearly not the clearly not the reliable source of information they used to be 10, 15 years ago. But as I say, yeah, so he wants to stay in Spain. Therefore he's not interested in the Premier League. Guarantee he doesn't know what West Ham is. I mean, I know everyone will say, most people will know West Ham for Bobby Moore, blah blah blah. But for the average Joe out in Spain, you're not going to know anything. And more importantly, apparently the agent fee is going to be increased if we do sign him as well. Now that worries me. I hate seeing articles about agents' fees because it's the Premier League. They're going to rinse it, and we're going to get rinsed, and that's the reason why the heads are being turned, because they want us to pay the £45 million, which a couple of weeks ago was 45 million euros. Now all of a sudden it's 50 million euros. In order for that to happen, as I say, I don't think he's the sort of player we need to be bringing in, because we're getting rid of a player that doesn't want to be at West Ham, and potentially trying to sign a striker, regardless of it being Kusilos and Pellegrini's number one, number two target, that doesn't want to leave Spain.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, it's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, the whole agent fee thing, it probably ties into the wages we're offering. It's like to sway this guy who doesn't really want to leave Spain and to beat out Valencia, who also can offer him Champions League football. We have to appeal to the financial side, and the agent is obviously the biggest influence. The agent only cares about where he goes because he's thinking, right, so say he goes Valencia, Champions League, maybe it raises his stock, maybe I can get a better fee and we'll make money down the line. It's appealing to the what the agent wants, and the agent is going to have to sway. So we say to the agent, look, it will bung in this little extra fee, we'll give him these wages, it'll come to the Premier League. That's probably the little advantage we had, the little thing we have to do to compete with Champions League football. And I guess that's just the nature of it. I mean, he's probably heard of West Ham just through following the Premier League to us because we are the biggest league. But yeah, you're right. He probably doesn't know things about the history and players and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's the only, I do agree with you massively. It's the only reason I do relent, and I do think let's just do what it takes to get this deal through. And try and do these things is because Pellegrini seems to really want him. I mean, we've been trying to sign him since January, and if Pellegrini wants him that bad and he thinks he can really help the team, and I think Kusilos has worked with him before, then I'm willing to back it. But yeah, I'm not 100% convinced it's going to happen myself. I can't really see it. It's going to seem like one of them things that we just, all the fans, we invest our energy into, and what we're hoping and we're imagining what it could be like, and then he signs for somewhere else, and we're like, oh great, okay, move on. Like Bacca, like Cavallo, Lacazette, Batshuayi,
Aubameyang, the list is endless.
Loic Remy. I mean, I had my hopes on us signing Loic Remy over like 3 seasons. We had his link with him. I mean, he didn't go on to be that great a player, but I remember I really wanted to see us sign Loic Remy. It was like every transfer window, West Ham, Loic Remy. I was like, come on, let's sign him. And it's every window we got to have a player like that, isn't it? That we just track the whole window and it doesn't happen. But yeah, I think it won't happen.
Yeah, agree, mate. But and this is the funny thing when you're saying about that. Again, like Newcastle, we're linked to everybody from a free to about what is now £50 million deal. I mean, we've been tracking Welbeck for 4 years, apparently. 3 different managers, and we're still tracking the same player. I just don't believe any of that stuff whatsoever. Now, obviously, it's come out that over the last couple of days that, as we talked about, that the replacement for Marko Arnautovic is basically on Andrea Bellotti. I think he pronounced that.
Yeah, I think that's the alternative if we don't get Gomez. I think they're talking about, and he does seem like a good Arnautovic, or he seems a bit like Arnautovic.
I hope not.
But yeah, hopefully, like
Yeah, play-wise, I agree with you 100%. I mean, because for those who don't know who this bloke is, I mean, I mean, I didn't really know. I knew the name because I recognised him from the World Cup a few years back. But for those who don't know who he is, he's 25-year-old, 5'9", right-footed centre forward that can also play attacking midfield as well. It's a bit strange that we've seen all the players that we seem to be linked in the attacking line. They're all right-footed. I've not come across one left-footer yet, which is a bit random. Torino paid £7.5 million for him from Palermo in August 2015, where he made 64 appearances in all competitions, scoring 16 goals and 7 assists. 2 appearances in the Coppa Italia, scoring none, but he did have an assist for one of the goals. His record with Torino is quite impressive, mate, to be honest with you. 148 appearances in all competitions, scoring 70 and assisting 4, which I understand. That's the sort of player, 25 years old, as I said. There is apparently the price tag is 36 million euros, but the Torino don't want to sell him, and I can completely understand why.
Well, I saw like 50 million euros when I looked earlier. I mean, but there's always contradiction. But apparently, a couple of seasons ago, he was rated at 90 million euros. I think that's when he scored 28 goals out of 38 appearances in Serie A, and he was rated at like 90 million euros after that. So he seems to be a very highly rated player. Coming into the, soon to be entering the prime of his career in a few years' time. So
exactly. I mean, even his international record's pretty impressive. Made his debut for Italy in the under-21s and at 19 and a half years old. In August 13, he's made for the under-21s. He made 20 appearances. Assisted 5 goals, and I think it's got about 19 or something stupid like that as well. Then when he made his senior debut in September 16 at 22 years and 8 months time, 22 appearances, assisting 5 and scoring 9, he's also made a few World Cup appearances. 4 goals in the World Cup qualifications and scoring 3. Not a bad player in any shape or form, and I can completely understand why Torino don't want to get rid of him, because at the end of the day, he's going to be suited for pretty much every club at the highest level by all accounts.
Yeah, it's just, can they resist that? Can they resist the money? It's an interesting one, but it's funny. It's always a question mark over these sort of players for me. The Gomez's, the Belottis and it's always going to be that question mark of, can they cut it in the Premier League? Can they handle the Premier League? We've seen it so many times. Like, players light up these other leagues, and then when they get to the Premier League, look at Zaza. After we sold Zaza, like, he didn't score a single goal for us in the Premier League or any cups, and he went to flipping back to Spain and was banging in goals for fun. So there's always that question mark. But I think now that we haven't got Sullivan in charge of transfers, now who Silos is director of football, I feel a little bit more comfortable of accepting that this guy knows more about football than me. I'm willing to not stress and not think, no, this person ain't good. Just let's see who they sign and trust in the process. But when it was David Gold, it just seemed like he was asking his kids, like, all right, who's good on Football Manager? Who did you sign on football? Oh, Dad, you got to sign this guy. You got to sign that guy. And we'd just sign these random flipping players.
Exactly, mate, because it staggers. I mean, from one thing I found out when I was with the Hammers Chat guys a couple of weekends back, and there's one of the videos went up the other day, which Gonzo said something that I was very, very impressed with. That apparently David Sullivan was the one who identified Diop, so he still knows every now and again. But DJ Blokey's made quite a good point in that in terms of Belotti. He said another player that has a massive history of injuries. Yeah,
it's interesting actually, because looking at his appearance stats in Serie A, it seemed to be he was mostly making like over 35 appearances each season. So, I mean, he's probably he knows more than me, but that's just from me looking on his flipping Wikipedia. I'm not saying the guy's not wrong, but if that is the case and he has got appearance, then it could be a player we want to avoid. But I'd like to know if he could comment a little bit more about the lengths of his injuries, because like I said, with those, it seemed to be, if you look on his appearances of Wikipedia, it's like every season it seems to be like over 30 odd appearances. So
It's mate. To be honest with you, if I'm sure he's right, because there's obviously a lot of people keep them more up to date with the European football than we do. So yeah, Blokey, by all means, give us more information, mate. That's not a problem. We'll obviously read it out to you. So basically, with the upcoming season and all the players we've been linked to, and we've touched on quite a few as well. Whereabouts on the starting 11? I'm doing what you do, mate. I keep doing this. You keep doing your videos, and I'm starting doing it.
This is my hands. This is the most static my hands have been in a video. Honestly, I've got this mic to hold on to, so it's stopping me from doing all of that.
So where in the starting 11 would you reinforce for this coming season?
Obviously, we're talking about strikers. Strikers is a very important area. We've got Arnautovic leaving. We've had Perez leaving. It looks like Hernandez will stay, which I'm cool with. He, completely professional guy. I mean,
this could be a season. His last he could be playing for the better. If things stand as it is at the moment, we've got Hernandez and Hugo as strikers. This is the absolute prime time for Chicharito to actually go out and go all guns blazing and show his worth. But go on.
Yeah. I think probably left back. I like Masuaku. Masuaku has got a lot of stick, but I would really like to see him given a chance on the wing. It's going to be hard with the attacking forward players that we've got, but if we can just try him out on the wing, he might be really good. He might be better than some of the players that can play in that position. Maybe give Anderson a run for his money in that position. I'd love to see him there, getting left back in with Creswell and have two out and out left backs competing for that position. Right back is a tricky one because Zabaleta isn't going to be able to play 38 games plus the cup games. Fredericks, I like Fredericks a lot. However, massive question mark over his ability to stay fit for me. He had a long-term injury last season and he came back, played a few games, looked good, then got another serious injury. So, and then we've got, I think it's young Ben Johnson who can play. I'd like to see more of him, see him come through. But again, if we can get someone, it's hard because I think this is going to be Zabaleta's last season for us. So if we can have Fredericks and another decent right back, I'll be happy with that. But yeah, mainly strikers. In the centre back position, we've got Diop and Balbuena, and I'm one of the few that's actually I'm happy with Ogbonna. He had some times when he had a bit of a mare, but he played with an serious injury, went on to have surgery,
and that was the best he played.
Yeah, and I really respected that because he was getting some stick. But I think overall he's a solid centre. He's centre back. He's not obviously getting the plaudits of the Diops, and Diop's been brilliant. But we've also got Declan Rice who can still slot back and play at centre back if we need to. So I'm not really seeking to spend a load of money in a centre back position. So yeah, I think striker's definitely the main one, and we're talking about Gomez and we're talking about Rondon, who are two of the seem to be the main two. And I think if we could keep Hernandez, get Gomez, get Rondon, I think that I'd be very, very happy with that.
Would you class Rondon as the next level or just a tide over?
I think it's an improvement. I mean, there was the stats there to say that he scored more goals and contributed to more goals than any of our other players last season in a struggling Newcastle team. And the fact that we've got Fornals, Lanzini if he stays fit, we've got Anderson, so then players that can help create opportunities and help create goals for Rondon. You would hope that he'd be able to even do even better with us than he did at Newcastle. So I don't think it's what you'd call next level, but it's a step up and it's an improvement. And I think that's what you have to have sometimes. Sometimes you have to do it bit by bit and go, right, I'm going to get this player who's a bit better than the other person we had last year. And I'm going to get this player, and it's a gradual process. So I think if you have him and you have Gomez, who is the first choice, and if he turns out to be brilliant, then he's a great first choice. Then you have Rondon and Chicharito, and then you can really have a good cup run as well because you've got that depth.
Yeah, to be honest with you, mate, I would take Rondon over Mitrovic all day of the week. I know Mitrovic shows a lot more passion than Rondon does on the pitch, but I agree 100% with Rondon's kind of a signing for me that that old maxim of evolution, not revolution. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I just wish we could have got Rondon 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, obviously Mitrovic has the age thing on his side. He has that youth. It's Rondon's going to be cheaper. He's got 16 million buyout clause. Obviously, Slaven Bilic is his manager. He's someone hopefully we can do business with, and he's someone Pellegrini's worked with before, and Husila. So that ticks the boxes. They seem to be favouring Rondon over Mitrovic. He's what, 29, 28, 29. So for the price that we're talking about, it'd be a decent signing, I think, for now. So if you're talking about having him and having a first choice, if it is Gomez or we do get a Belotti or someone like that, if we can, he wouldn't be someone who I'd call a marquee signing. So I hope we could get someone really a marquee signing and Rondon. But yeah, definitely an improvement. He done even better than Arnautovic. So if you're talking about him replacing, he can probably bang in more goals than Arnautovic did.
I mean, just touching on what Nicky said quite a lot over the last couple of years is getting having 2 players for every position, and you know, with the exception of the centre backs, because we've only really got 3. I mean, as much as I love Winston, I absolutely love the guy. You can't rely on him anymore, unfortunately. So obviously, strikers is the right place. Agreed, 100%. Ben Johnson, I'd love to see him play. Because he did that because it was left back at Man City, wasn't he, when he made his debut?
Yeah, for Man City. But I think it's right back is his preferred position. But I think it's great that I think it's great that he can play both, though. I think that's brilliant. That's also another thing that's quite interesting.
That's going to come in massively, massively handy in the coming seasons. It really will. If he, I mean, because I'm not going to do a Reece Oxford on him in any shape or form because he just had 1 appearance and that's it. But I really do. I was very impressed with what he did, and everybody else, like everyone else, I should say, really can't wait to see what he's going to be able to offer.
And it's another example of Pellegrini as well, giving youth a chance. Because if you look at, Man City, tough game. If you look, and I love Slaven Bilic, I love him, but if maybe that was Slaven Bilic, he might have played another player there out of position, or say David Moyes, they might have just tried to stick a square peg in the round hole rather than, put some faith in the youth. And Pellegrini did that, and he gave a great accounting of himself against the best team in the country and one of the best teams in the world. So it's something to some hopefulness, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mahrez was shit in that game. He was terrible.
Yeah.
But he looked worse because of how well Johnson was playing. DJ Bloke, who's actually come back with more information. Thank you very much, mate, for doing that. Appreciate it. Said Belotti had knee injuries last season on 2 separate occasions, missing for both each time. Now, to be honest with you, being out with knee injuries for a month isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It just reinforces the West Ham link, doesn't it? It really
yeah,
does.
but the thing is, when you look at that, the thing is, being West Ham, anytime you're linked to a player and you think, right, they got injured last season, alarm bells ring because of our history. But it's not, if it's not a long-term record of history, a history of injuries, I'm not so worried. If it's just like, he missed a month of injury, every player gets injured at some point in their career. But if it was like every season after season, he was picking up injuries, then I'd be a lot more worried.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the problem with Callum Wilson.
Yes,
he gets little niggles here and there, and it just seems to get longer and longer, and he's out for longer and longer.
That's one we have to steer well clear of. For the price they want, it's about 15 million quid for a player with as much of a record. I know he's an important player to them.
He's massively talented, but yes, his injury record is terrible.
Yes, still well clear. We just got rid of bloody Andy Carroll, so.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul, basically, in that case.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a classic West Ham thing that we used to do. Let's get rid of one injury player, and replace with another one. So,
that's the West Ham way, isn't it, mate? It really is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox for this one, mate, because it's, again, this just reiterates my hatred for Sky Sports. Because obviously, for those who haven't seen it, that came out earlier today, which X confirmed on the podcast last week, Villa away is now on Monday, the 16th of September, an 8 o'clock kickoff. And my skin is crawling with this because how many times, Ryan will probably back me up on this. How many times are we getting ridiculously, I know it's only about 150 miles difference, but how many times are we getting an away draw during the week that is ridiculous to get to and back? It really, really gets my back up that with it's on a Monday night as well, for that matter. Which so, I mean, not that any other weekday is better, of course, but you know that means people, as I think you guys talked about it a few weeks back. I think it was at the end of the season video where Ryan was mentioning, you know, himself included, is where he has to take half day off, get all the travel, organise the overnight stay, and then book another half day to get back the next day. It's just it's crazy. I understand the reasons behind it, because you know Sky have got to fill their quota and stuff, but Villa away, how is this TV football?
Do you know, and there's no care or concern for the match going fan, because it ruins it completely. What people love is Saturday comes up, like you can go out, you don't have to worry about booking any time off work. You get the train up or the coach up early, you have a few drinks, you enjoy the match day. But with that, it's like, oh, I've got to either like finish work, then rush up. It just ruins the match day. And here's what I do not understand, right, is why do we not just show, like every week, 3 o'clock kickoff on telly? There's all this talk that, oh, people won't go to the game anymore, which is absolutely ridiculous, because we show games at 5:30 on a Saturday on telly, or 12:30 on a Saturday on telly. We show Sunday games on the telly, but they're easy games to get to, but they still sell out. People want to go to, if people want to go to football, they're going to go to football. It's not because that's not on the telly that people go to football. Them 3 o'clock kickoffs, I'm not saying you have to show everyone. Pick a 3 o'clock kickoff every single week, instead of sticking it on a Monday, a Friday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, just to show it. The whoever it is, the Premier League, the clubs, they need to come together and say, right, one game a week of 3 o'clock you can pick each time, and have less of this absolute bollocks of show it, because now they're adding like later Saturday games and things, late like 7:30 on a Saturday. It's crap. Yeah, I'm like you, mate. It really winds me up. It's midweek is fine for me because of the freelance nature, and I'm more busy on a weekend sometimes. It works for me, but I hate the sentiment of it, and it just seems to be getting worse. So yeah, fuck Sky.
Well, the cool thing is in December, Amazon are going to prove if that is true or not, because our game away at Wolves is on Amazon, and the Boxing Day game against Palace away, that's also on Amazon as well. And both, if memory serves, both 3 o'clock kickoffs as well. So that'll be very, very interesting to see what happens there. Because to be honest with you, mate, out of BT, Sky Sports, and Amazon Prime is the easiest one to have access to.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I mean, a lot of people have Prime just for deliveries. I have Prime just for the free next day deliveries. And you get some programs. But I'm selling flucky Amazon Prime. But
there's no affiliates before anybody says we're not sponsored by Amazon or anything. It's 3 Retro. Click the link in the description below.
Yeah. Check them out. But what I'm saying is, I do hope that does succeed, because then it will prove it. And I just think people don't go to football because it ain't on the telly. That's not why people have ever gone to football, because they can't see it on the telly. If you want to go to football, you enjoy the ritual, the match day experience, you love, there is absolutely nothing in the world like being at the football when your team score. You cannot replicate it by sitting in and watching it on telly, because just that emotion, like standing up with the fans, jumping on each other, hugging each other, you know, just the feeling that you get is nothing like it, and people can't get that from home. So this talk about people won't go to the football if you show the 3 o'clock kickoffs is absolutely absurd, because in fact it's more convenient. And here's another thing: it's better to show the 3 o'clock kickoffs than it is the midweek games or the other games on telly, because it's more convenient for fans to go to. So if it is on telly, people will go, well, actually, it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday, very convenient, I might as well go. But a lot of the time, if it's a pain in the ass to get to, people go, well, it's on the telly, it's Tuesday night, there's no I can't be asked to go to that, it's on the telly anyway. You're better off showing the more convenient games on the telly.
Exactly, mate. And that's talking of which, obviously, just as a reminder for everybody, our first home game of the season's on 12:30 Saturday, on that Saturday morning as well. So I feel for the City supporters, because they have to do the same thing. Well, probably about 50% of them do, because I know a lot of the City supporters won't be as Manchester as as the hardcore lot are. But also Man United at home on Sunday, the 22nd of September at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Talking of fixtures though, I don't know if you saw this earlier today, but I was just in hysterics. How this matters, I don't know. But Spurs have downgraded us from a category A to a category B. Do you care about that? I don't give a shit about that.
I just think it's a weird one. I don't know. It is. I don't know what they've based it on. I don't really care. I mean, it makes it cheaper for them to come and see us beat them at their ground. But yeah, it's a weird one. Being a derby and being it is what it is. But yeah, very, very strange.
It's just, I mean, people saying, that people are obviously saying, like you're saying, that they don't want so many people watching them, us beating them and stuff. But it's. I mean, I don't care about Spurs. I hate them, to be honest with you. I was in two minds about Spurs for a long time because my ex's dad is Spurs. I know a lot of Spurs supporters, and they're actually really good people. Being at the ground when we got that historical win changed that completely. Vile people. I mean, from what Nicky would have told you, but because I was trying to get on the fan cams with that as well, but it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, we're coming close up to the hour, Dan, and as promised, mate, I want to talk about your second channel. So Dan, Damo, and Jace. If you guys haven't checked that out, the link is in the description below, so go check those videos out, mate. Really do, guys. It's got some cracking stuff on it. Now, the reason, for those who are still watching from the start of it, the reason why I said refer to Dan as a lean hammer is because obviously, as you would have noticed, and he said from the videos over the last 2-3 months now, that you and Jace entered into the weight loss challenge with each other and did that. There was quite funny watching some of the videos where there's water being thrown over. Well, it's mostly Jace, isn't it, for not keeping up with it?
Yeah, who's basically 10 stone more than me, so he should be losing the weight a lot easier. But willpower. But yeah,
I mean, without getting in too much of the vanity side of things, mate. I mean, what started that challenge between the two of you?
Well, it was one of them things of we always decided we need to lose some weight, and doing it on the YouTube channel, we'd done it a couple of years ago, and it helps just keep you, it just, when you commit, it helps with the commitment of saying, right, I've got to put this video up. So it's more of a tool to keep us losing weight is by putting it up there and then having the forfeits to help incentivize us do it. So that's why we decided to do it. And it's worked out. It's really worked out for us to help us keep us on track. So yeah, it's one of them things of we've been focusing mainly on that. It's just hard getting all three guys together. That's the point. When you do a channel that relies on 3 people all being there, it's schedules and things like that. So I'm trying to move the channel in a way that, okay, it doesn't rely so much on all of us being together. Like I said, I did that behind the scenes West Ham Fan TV, how I edit a video thing on my own. So I'm trying to look at more stuff like that and go over that. But yeah, the weight loss thing has really helped out. If I was looking at myself on West Ham Fan TV videos thinking, geez, I've got to do something. And then people in the comments going, why are all West Ham fans fat? And I'm like, oh.
Well, mate, actually, to be honest with you, one of the funny questions I'm surprised hasn't happened yet is why are West Ham supporters bald and fat? Because obviously Nicky's getting that way himself, isn't he? So
yeah, he's losing his hair.
Yeah, he won't like saying that, but he has losing his hair slightly, unfortunately. Yeah. Guys, we're coming up to the last few minutes of the stream. Thank you very much. Most of the conversations are between yourselves. If you've got any questions for Dan, drop them in the live chat now. And I'm more than happy to ask him. Yeah. One question that hasn't been asked yet, but I know he's going to ask me because every time I don't ask this question to a guest, Darren, who lives over in Bangkok, he gives me a bloody hard time. So Dan, out of Thai curries, are you a red or a green man?
I'm a red. I'm definitely a red.
Finally, somebody else that does it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a red Thai curry fan. They tend to be. Didn't the reds tend to be a bit hotter? If I'm not
just it's a little bit more spicier, and because there's a few different herbs in there, which obviously turns it red.
I wonder if he knows about. When I have Thai, there's this thing you can get that's apparently like not many people know about called jungle hot. You can have it jungle hot, and it's like an extra level of heat. So I don't know if we'll know about that, but yeah, I do like. I like my. I'm going to Thailand actually this year, so
All right, cool. So Darren, you heard that, mate. I'm sure Darren will be able to link up with you and give you some travel advice, because he wants to help out anybody that's going over that neck of the woods. So,
yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, if anyone does have any questions or anything, I'll check. I'll keep checking back the comments in this video. So I'll reply if anyone wants to, after the fact, ask anything. I'll reply in the comments of this video.
Right, cool, brilliant. So. Now, obviously, we touched on a little bit about the second channel as well before we went live. And one of the things that I really enjoyed watching was your walkthrough of how you edit everything. And mate, my heart goes out to you, because when I do my videos, they are very similar. It takes, like for example, the video that I did giving information on Rondon, Marega, and who was the other one I talked about? Oh, I can't remember now, but. That in itself took 10 minutes to record. It took 45 minutes to put it all together, to put in the pictures, to make sure that the shadows are all at the same angles and whatnot. That it really pains me to do that stuff.
What you didn't see in that video was the flipping Premiere Pro crashing and me having to start everything again from scratch. It's happened to me a few times.
Well, like, exactly. I was going to say, because you do say right at the end of it. So, and there you go. That's going to render. It's going to take 20 minutes if it doesn't crash again. And so you can see it, but I don't know. I mean, maybe you've got too much stuff open when you're doing it, mate. Probably,
well, I think it's just sometimes there's just a fault on it. I mean, I've got quite a lot of RAM, but it's something I'm trying to do more of. I'm going to try next season to do a full behind the scenes of a match day on the channel of West Ham Fan TV. So what I do, if I can get someone to film behind the scenes of the fan cams, like me going in, me doing my match reaction, behind the scenes post-match pints, so they can see everything I do from start to finish, me and the other guys. I think that'd be quite interesting to a lot of people. So I'm going to try and do more of that. But if there's anything else people want to see behind the scenes or how to stuff like that, then yeah, I'll do it.
I mean, one of the things I loved about seeing Ryan and Graham doing on the social last season is only a few of those times that there was bloopers in there as well, like Ryan getting the intro wrong and stuff like that. You know, it makes me feel a little bit better watching. Yeah. I'm not just the only. I mean, of course, everybody has errors like that. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the bonus features on DVDs, for Pete's sake. But you know, it's nice to see somebody that you class as your peers having the same problems. It kind of makes me feel on the same sort of level. Jeff Blackman has asked a question and said, can you get Amazon on a TV? Yes, you can, mate. You can, if you get a Fire Stick or an Amazon device, or if you've got, I think you get it on Apple TV as well.
Yeah, or any smart TV. I think any smart TV probably has it. Amazon, send us some money for this, mate. You need to send us some money. Hook us up.
It would be very handy for that, mate. But yeah, you know, as I say, it's you know, there's things on that people don't see behind the scenes, you know, and which a lot of people say for their Patreon account. I mean, I don't understand why people have that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously it's a way to donate to the channel and whatnot, but you know, mate. But Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. It's, you know, from one point of view, it's been a little bit overdue, but it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. And to be honest with you, I wasn't gonna bring this up, but there have been times where you've annoyed the hell out of me with your videos. Some of the stuff I'm saying, no, what are you talking about, mate? But I'm sure everybody does it.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. There's so many different opinions, and what I always love, I know if I say so, not everyone's going to agree with me. I don't expect that, but I like people to comment and give me their opinion, and then we can have a chat about it. It's the beauty of it. It encourages discussion and debate, and like, I never claim to know everything. I just give my viewpoint, and then let's have it out. You know, it's the fun of it. But
like for example, last summer, you and I went into a bit of a conversation about what was it now? Yeah, it was old Thingy from Palace. Remember that rumor?
Who?
Thingy Bob Zaha. We were linked to Zaha.
Oh, right, yeah.
You put up a tweet saying, I can't believe people are taking that seriously. And I misinterpreted your tweet, thought you were talking about Jay's video on it, and we had about an hour and a half of tweeting each other. Shit, mate. Sorry, that's my fault.
It's so easy, though. Like, it's so easy to have the misunderstandings on Twitter and to have crossed wires and things like that. It is hard. Like, when you're like this, it's so much easier.
Exactly, because I mean, that's what I hate about social media, mate, is the fact that people you misinterpret stuff. People people are trying to be making jokes, and you don't get it because there's nothing behind it.
You don't get tone. That's what you miss. It's so hard to understand the tone of how someone's saying something, whether they come like me. I'm not one who puts LOL a lot of the time or things like that. If I or has to put smart, like I will just reply like really to the point. But people feel like I'm being confrontational, and it ends up getting into rap. But I'm just like, I just quickly, because I'm on saying I just want to reply quickly, and people can take that the wrong way. It looks like I'm coming in the wrong way, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And then GJ put a comment down saying exactly the same thing. So that's why we watch you guys, because we've all got different. Well, he's put opinions, but I'm guessing he means opinions.
Listen, typos, mate. I know all about them. I send a tweet, and I can't edit it. That typo's just there now. As soon as it's got like 2 retweets or a reply, I think, crap, that's it. I have to live with that typo.
Well, it's not just that. There was a video that went up a few weeks. I mean, we've all done it. I've had to go. I mean, like I kept calling when we did the videos about Wilshere last year. I completely didn't notice for about an hour and a half that my tweets and the conversations all said Wilshere. It said it Wiltshire. It was just like, no, all right, yes, it's not the county down that way. It's actually Wiltshire. It's just like, fuck's sake. But that's what happens when you have autocorrect on all the time.
I do it titles on videos, and then you see all these comments, and all the comments going, like commenting on the blue, and you think crap, and then like I change it, and then I go reply like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with the title.
But cool. No, it's actually Dan, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, really enjoyed it, mate. Really gone quickly. And,
it really has gone. That hour's gone absolutely disappeared. But I'm glad we've been able to talk about pretty much everything. There's been a couple of things, but we kind of touched on it earlier on as well. So, guys, as Dan said, if you've got any questions for him on the repeat of this, then by all means put them in the comment section below, and I'm sure that I'm sure that I can get him to reply, or I can reply, or whatever.
I'll check it. I'll check back every now and then and check in. But yeah, if you see anything, John, and you think someone's asked you this, then just message me, and then I'll jump in. Yeah.
And during this conversation, we've had 4 more subscribers onto the channel, so it's at 819, so getting close to that 900 target for the start of the season. So thank you very much for those who've subscribed. Unfortunately, the majority of people that do subscribe on YouTube, you can't see who it is, but thank you guys. It really means a lot. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the content. It's nice to see now, because I've only been doing these podcasts for the last 5-6 weeks. And when I first started, and there wasn't much interaction going on in the live chat. Tim from American Hammers is most of the reason why that he's been engaging with a lot of people on his lunch break for work. So Tim, if you're watching the repeat of this, mate, thank you very much.
He knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to have that from when he's like started the live stuff, and it is hard work, because I've done live stuff and there's not much go. You're like, oh crowd, we just keep talking, but yeah, it is. It's building and building. So it's good to see that you're getting there, mate. And onwards to 1,000 as well. Once you're at that 900, I think you can definitely get there, like in the early stages of the season.
Cheers, mate. Be very grateful for your input on this as well. Of course, this the whole point of doing this is getting different people on. I also, if anybody's watching this, I'm also looking for so-called normal West Ham supporters. It doesn't have to be YouTube people as well. Just if anybody wants to come on the podcast, male or female, I'm always happy to get everybody else's opinions on how things have been going. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching. If anybody else is new around here and you like what I'm doing, then please please click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notifications when the videos go up, and also the notifications of the upcoming podcasts. Put your comments, as I said, in the comment section below. Click the like button if you've liked it. Click the dislike button if you don't like it, and let me know why, because I'm always happy to adapt any videos for you guys, because at the end of the day, you're my audience and I can't do this without you, basically. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I will see you some point over the weekend. Take care now.